What you're about to witness is the moment Johnny Carson, the king of late-night television, lost complete control of his own show. Robin Williams, a 27-year-old comedian nobody had heard of, walked onto that stage and did something so unprecedented, so wildly unpredictable, that Carson's carefully constructed world shattered in real time. And what happened in the next 11 minutes would change television history forever. But here's what nobody tells you about that night. The real reason Robin Williams was there, the secret he was hiding, and the 3 words Johnny whispered to him when the cameras stopped rolling, that Robin would carry with him until his final breath. I see messages all the time in the comment section that some of you didn't realize you didn't subscribe. So if you could do me a favor and double check if you're a subscriber to this channel, that would be tremendously appreciated. It's simple. It's the free thing that anybody that watches this show frequently can do to help us here to keep everything going in this show in the trajectory it's on. So please do double check if you've subscribed, and thank you so much, because in a strange way you are part of our history and you're on this journey with us, and I appreciate you for that. August 14th, 1978, Studio One at NBC Burbank. The Tonight Show was taping in front of 300 people who had no idea they were about to witness something that would be replayed for the next 40 years. Johnny Carson sat behind his famous desk, going through his standard pre-show routine. Check the cue cards, adjust the microphone, straighten the tie. Everything had to be perfect. Everything always was. Johnny had been hosting The Tonight Show for 16 years. He had interviewed presidents, movie stars, musicians, and every kind of celebrity America could produce. He knew exactly how every interview would go before it started. He could read people within seconds, anticipate their jokes, guide conversations with surgical precision. Control was everything to Johnny Carson. Control was how he survived. But tonight, control was about to become impossible. In the green room, a young man was pacing back and forth like a caged animal. Robin Williams was 27 years old, wearing a rainbow suspenders vest that looked like it had been pulled from a thrift store bargain bin. His hair was wild, his eyes were wild. Everything about him was electric, chaotic, barely contained energy that seemed ready to explode at any moment. The Tonight Show bookers had discovered Robin performing at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles. He was doing a new kind of comedy that nobody had seen before. Voices, characters, physical comedy, improvisation that happened so fast your brain couldn't keep up. Some people thought he was a genius. Others thought he was insane. Most people thought he was both. But here's what nobody knew that night. Robin Williams wasn't supposed to be there. 3 days earlier, Johnny Carson's regular booker had made a terrible mistake. The scheduled guest, a famous actor whose name was already printed in TV Guide, had canceled at the last minute. Panic spread through the production office. The Tonight Show never had empty guest slots. Never. It was unprofessional. It was embarrassing. It was everything Johnny Carson hated. A young production assistant named Sarah Chen had an idea. She had seen Robin Williams perform the week before and had laughed so hard she'd cried. What about that comedian from the Comedy Store? She suggested hesitantly. The one who does all the voices. The head booker looked at her like she'd lost her mind. Robin who? Nobody knows who that is. Carson will never agree to this, but they were desperate, and desperation makes people take risks they would never normally take. When Johnny was told about Robin Williams, his response was immediate and cold. "I've never heard of him. Is he funny? He's different," the booker said carefully. Johnny's eyes narrowed. Different was dangerous. Different meant unpredictable, and unpredictable meant loss of control, but there was no other option. Johnny agreed to give this unknown comedian 5 minutes. 5 minutes to prove himself. 5 minutes to not embarrass The Tonight Show or Johnny Carson. What Johnny didn't know was that Robin Williams had been waiting for this moment his entire life. Robin had grown up watching The Tonight Show like it was scripture. His father, Robert Williams, was a senior executive at Ford Motor Company, demanding, distant, emotionally unavailable, the kind of man who believed showing emotion was weakness. Robin spent his childhood trying desperately to make his father laugh, trying to get any reaction, any sign that he mattered. He almost never succeeded, but Johnny Carson made his father laugh. Every single night, Robert Williams would sit in his leather chair, drink his scotch, and watch Johnny Carson. And when Johnny delivered a perfect joke, Robin's father would smile. Sometimes he would even chuckle. Those moments were the closest Robin ever felt to connecting with the man. So Robin started studying Johnny Carson like other kids studied baseball players. He memorized every gesture, every pause, every perfectly timed joke. He learned that comedy wasn't just about being funny. It was about rhythm, control, reading the room, making people feel safe enough to laugh. And he learned something else. he learned that the funniest people were often the loneliest people, that behind Johnny's perfect smile was something sad, something isolated, something profoundly alone. Robin recognized that loneliness because he felt it too. By the time Robin was 18, he knew two things with absolute certainty. First, he was going to be a comedian. Second, he was going to appear on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, not as a fantasy, as a promise he made to himself. But the road to that promise had been brutal. Robin had spent years performing in clubs where people threw drinks at him. He had bombed so badly that club owners banned him from ever returning. He had slept in his car. He had eaten ketchup packets for dinner. He had called his mother crying, saying he wanted to give up. But something inside Robin Williams refused to quit. Some desperate need to be seen, to be heard, to prove that he mattered. And slowly, painfully, his unique brand of comedy started connecting with audiences. The voices came first. Robin discovered he could become anyone: John Wayne, Walter Cronkite, a Russian immigrant, a Southern preacher. He could shift between characters so fast that audiences didn't know where one ended and another began. It was like watching someone channel pure chaos and somehow make it funny. Then came the improvisation. Robin stopped writing material. He just went on stage and let whatever was in his head pour out. Sometimes it was brilliant, sometimes it was disaster, but it was always fearless. The Comedy Store became his laboratory. Night after night, he would perform for whoever showed up. Some nights it was 5 people, some nights it was 50. Robin didn't care. He was learning to trust his instincts, to chase the laugh wherever it led him. And then Sarah Chen walked in. She watched Robin perform for 20 minutes and knew immediately she was watching something special. After the show, she approached him nervously. "Have you ever thought about doing television?" Robin laughed. "I've auditioned for everything. Nobody wants me. I'm too weird. What if I could get you on The Tonight Show?" Robin froze. For the first time in his life, he was completely speechless. "Are you serious?" he finally whispered. "I can't promise anything," Sarah said, "but we have an opening. If you want it, you need to be ready in 3 days." Robin nodded slowly. His hands were shaking. "I'll be ready," but he had no idea what he was getting into. Now, standing in that green room on August 14, 1978, Robin Williams was about to walk into the most important 5 minutes of his life. A production assistant knocked on the door. "Mr. Williams, you're on in 2 minutes." Robin looked at himself in the mirror. The rainbow suspenders suddenly seemed ridiculous. His hair looked crazy. He looked like a clown who had wandered onto the wrong set. "What am I doing here?" he thought. "I'm nobody. Johnny Carson is a legend. This is a mistake." But then he remembered something his mother had told him when he was 12 years old, crying because the other kids were making fun of him. "Robin," she had said gently, "God gave you a gift, but a gift that isn't used is just a burden. So use it. Make people laugh. Make people feel something. That's all that matters." Robin took a deep breath. He looked at his reflection one more time. "This is it," he thought. "Everything I've worked for. Everything I've dreamed about. Don't hold back. Don't play it safe. Just be yourself." He walked toward the stage entrance. Out in the studio, Johnny Carson was finishing his monologue. The audience was laughing at all the right moments. Ed McMahon was chuckling from his chair. Doc Severinson's band was hitting every cue perfectly. Everything was exactly as it should be. Johnny glanced at his cue card. Next up, Robin Williams, comedian. He had no idea who this person was. He had no idea what to expect, and that made him deeply uncomfortable. Johnny turned to the camera with his famous smile. "Our next guest is a young comedian who's been getting a lot of attention at the Comedy Store here in Los Angeles. Please welcome Robin Williams." The audience applauded politely, not enthusiastically, just politely. They had never heard of this person either. And then Robin Williams exploded through that curtain. There's no other way to describe it. Robin didn't walk onto the stage. He exploded. He was moving before he was even visible. His arms were flailing. His body was contorting. He was making sounds, weird, indescribable sounds that didn't seem human. He looked like he had been shot out of a cannon directly into Johnny Carson's carefully controlled universe. The audience gasped. They had never seen anything like this on The Tonight Show. Johnny's smile flickered for just a second. "What the hell is this?" Robin bounded toward Johnny's desk, but instead of shaking hands like every other guest in Tonight Show history, he vaulted over the desk, rolled across it, and popped up on the other side like some kind of deranged acrobat. The audience burst into shocked laughter. This wasn't protocol. This wasn't how things worked on The Tonight Show. Johnny Carson just stared at this wild creature who had invaded his stage. For the first time in 16 years, Johnny had absolutely no idea what to do. And then Robin Williams looked directly at Johnny Carson and said 5 words that changed everything. "You're trapped now, Mr. Carson." The studio went completely silent for exactly 3 seconds. Johnny blinked. Ed McMahon leaned forward in his chair. The audience held their breath. And then Johnny Carson did something he rarely did on television. He laughed. Not his polite professional laugh, a real laugh. The kind of laugh that comes from being genuinely surprised. "I think you're right," Johnny said, still laughing. "I think I am trapped." And just like that, the entire energy of The Tonight Show shifted.
Robin launched into something that couldn't be called an interview. It was performance art. It was controlled chaos. It was like watching someone juggle chainsaws while riding a unicycle through a minefield. He became a Russian ballet instructor critiquing Johnny's posture. He transformed into John Wayne challenging Johnny to a draw. He invented a character on the spot, an old Jewish tailor fitting Johnny for an invisible suit that had the audience crying with laughter. Johnny tried to ask questions, tried to maintain some structure, but Robin was like trying to interview a tornado. Every question became a springboard for 3 different characters, 5 different voices, 7 different directions at once. But here's what was remarkable. Underneath all the chaos, Robin was reading Johnny Carson like a book. When Johnny seemed confused, Robin would pull back just enough to let him catch up. When Johnny tried to jump in with a joke, Robin would set him up perfectly, making Johnny look even funnier. When the audience got too wild, Robin would somehow bring the energy down just enough to keep things from spiraling completely out of control. He was chaotic, but he wasn't reckless. He was wild, but he wasn't careless. He was giving Johnny Carson the greatest gift one comedian can give another. He was making Johnny look good. And Johnny was starting to realize something extraordinary was happening. About 3 minutes into Robin's 5-minute slot, Johnny did something unprecedented. He looked at his producer off camera and gave a signal. The signal meant, extend this segment. Cancel the next guest if you have to. I want more of this. The producer's eyes went wide. Johnny never extended segments. Never. But tonight, Johnny Carson didn't want this to end. Robin was now playing Ed McMahon's invisible trumpet while speaking in French. Then he became a sports announcer, calling a golf match between Johnny and himself. Then he transformed into a timid guest who was terrified of being on television, which was somehow the funniest thing of all. The audience was in hysterics. They weren't just laughing, they were screaming. People were doubled over. Some were crying. This wasn't normal Tonight Show laughter. This was something else entirely. And then Robin did something that made Johnny Carson's mask crack completely. In the middle of a bit about an overly enthusiastic game show host, Robin suddenly stopped. The energy completely shifted. He looked at Johnny with total sincerity and said in a quiet voice, "You know what's amazing about you, Mr. Carson? You make it look so easy. But I've been watching you since I was a kid, and I know it's not easy. I know how hard this is. Thank you for making it look possible." The audience went silent. This wasn't comedy anymore. This was real. Johnny's expression changed. For just a moment, the professional mask slipped, and what was underneath was something vulnerable, something touched, something that looked almost like grief. "That's very kind," Johnny said quietly. His voice was different, softer, more human than his usual television voice. The 2 men looked at each other, and in that moment, something passed between them that the audience couldn't fully understand but could absolutely feel. 2 comedians, 2 desperately lonely men who had learned to hide their pain behind laughter. 2 people who understood exactly what it cost to make millions of people happy while carrying private sadness. The moment lasted maybe 5 seconds. Then Robin was off again. He jumped into another character, a motivational speaker giving Johnny advice on life, and the spell was broken. The laughter came roaring back. The chaos resumed. Johnny let Robin go for 14 minutes total, nearly 3 times longer than any unknown guest had ever been given. When it finally ended, the audience gave Robin a standing ovation that lasted over a minute. Robin took a bow. His rainbow suspenders were crooked. His hair was even wilder than when he'd started. He looked like he'd just survived a hurricane. Johnny stood and shook Robin's hand. "Robin Williams, everyone," he said to the camera, and then he added something he rarely said. "We'll have you back very soon." Robin walked off stage in a daze. He had done it. He had actually done it. But the most important part of that night was still to come. When the show ended and the camera stopped rolling, Johnny Carson did something he almost never did. He walked backstage to Robin's dressing room and knocked on the door. Robin opened it, still dripping with sweat, still coming down from the adrenaline. When he saw Johnny standing there, his eyes went wide. "Mr. Carson." Johnny held up his hand. "You can call me Johnny. Everyone does." "Okay, Johnny." Robin couldn't stop smiling. "Thank you so much for letting me. I need to tell you something," Johnny interrupted. His voice was serious now. The television persona was completely gone. This was just a man talking to another man. Robin stopped talking and listened. "What you did tonight was special," Johnny said quietly. "I've been doing this show for 16 years. I've seen every kind of comedian there is, and I've never seen anyone like you." Robin's eyes filled with tears. "That means everything coming from you." Johnny nodded. Then he said something that Robin would remember for the rest of his life. "You're going to be very successful, probably more successful than you can imagine right now. And when that happens, when the fame comes and the money comes, and everyone wants a piece of you, I need you to remember something." Robin waited. "Don't let them take what makes you special. Don't let them smooth out all your rough edges to make you more palatable. Don't let them turn you into something safe. Stay dangerous. Stay unpredictable. That's where the magic is."
Johnny paused, and when he spoke again, his voice was even quieter. "I didn't do that. I let them turn me into something safe. I let them put me in a box because I was afraid of what would happen if I stayed dangerous. and I've regretted it every single day for 16 years. Robin stared at Johnny Carson, this American icon, this legend, and saw something he'd never seen before. He saw the loneliness, the isolation, the cost of being perfect every single night for 16 years. The weight of being America's favorite comedian while slowly disappearing behind the character he'd created. "I won't make that mistake," Robin said softly. "I promise." Johnny smiled. It wasn't his television smile. It was real, sad, knowing. "Good," he said. He shook Robin's hand one more time. "You're going to change everything. Just don't forget who you were when you had nothing to lose." And then Johnny Carson walked back to his dressing room, closed the door, and sat alone in the dark. What happened over the next few months confirmed everything Johnny had seen that night. Robin Williams exploded into American consciousness like a supernova. Within weeks, he was offered the role of Mork on Mork and Mindy, a sitcom that would make him a household name. Within a year, he was on the cover of Time magazine. Within 5 years, he was one of the biggest movie stars in the world. Every single thing Johnny Carson had predicted came true. But Robin never forgot what Johnny had told him that night. When producers wanted to sand down his rough edges, Robin stayed wild. When directors wanted him to stick to the script, Robin improvised. When everyone tried to turn him into something predictable and safe, Robin remained gloriously dangerous. He returned to The Tonight Show 42 more times over the next 15 years. Every appearance was electric. Every appearance was unpredictable, and every single time Johnny Carson would watch from behind his desk with a mixture of pride and sadness. Pride because he had been right, sadness because he was watching Robin do everything Johnny had been too afraid to do himself. But there was a darkness underneath all of Robin's brilliance. The same manic energy that made him a genius also made him unstable. The same sensitivity that let him create incredible characters also made him vulnerable to every cruel word, every harsh review, every moment of rejection. Robin struggled with addiction. He struggled with depression. He struggled with the desperate need to make everyone happy, to never let anyone see him sad, to be on every single moment because the minute he stopped performing, the darkness would catch up to him. In interviews years later, Robin would talk about that night on The Tonight Show as the moment that changed his life. But he would also talk about something else. "Johnny gave me permission to be myself," Robin said in a 1992 interview. "But he also warned me. He told me that fame would try to change me. And he was right. I've spent my entire career fighting to stay dangerous. Some days I win, some days I lose." The interviewer asked, "What did Johnny Carson mean to you?" Robin's eyes filled with tears. "He was the father I always wanted, the one who actually saw me, the one who told me I mattered." Johnny Carson retired from The Tonight Show in 1992 after 30 years of hosting. In his final monologue, he talked about the guests who had meant the most to him. When he mentioned Robin Williams, his voice caught. "Robin Williams came on this show as a complete unknown in 1978, Johnny said, "and in 14 minutes he changed what I thought was possible in comedy. He reminded me why I started doing this in the first place. Not to be safe, not to be perfect, but to make people feel something real." After Johnny retired, he became even more reclusive. He gave almost no interviews. He rarely appeared in public. He lived quietly with his wife in Malibu, watching the ocean, playing tennis, and slowly disappearing from American consciousness. But Robin would call him, not often, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, just to check in, just to say thank you, just to remind Johnny that he hadn't been forgotten. In one of their last conversations, in 2004, Robin asked Johnny a question: "Do you have any regrets?" There was a long silence on the phone. Finally, Johnny spoke. "I regret that I never showed people who I really was. I spent 30 years being Johnny Carson, the television host, and somewhere along the way, I forgot how to be John William Carson, the kid from Nebraska who just wanted to make people laugh." Robin's voice was gentle. "It's not too late. You could still know," Johnny said firmly. "It is too late. That ship sailed a long time ago. But you, Robin, you still have time. Don't make my mistake. Don't let them trap you behind a persona. Stay dangerous." "I'm trying," Robin whispered. "God, I'm trying so hard." "I know you are," Johnny said, "and I'm proud of you, more than you'll ever know." They talked for another hour, about comedy, about loneliness, about the cost of making millions of people happy while struggling to find happiness yourself. It was the last conversation they ever had. Johnny Carson died on January 23, 2005. He was 79 years old. Robin Williams was devastated. He released a statement that said Johnny Carson was the gold standard. "He was the reason I became a comedian. He was the father I always wanted, and now he's gone." At Johnny's private funeral, Robin spoke. Through tears, he told the story of that night in 1978. He told about the 3 words Johnny had whispered to him backstage: "Stay dangerous, kid." "I've tried to honor that," Robin said, his voice breaking. "I've tried to stay dangerous. I've tried to never let them smooth out all my rough edges. I've tried to be the comedian Johnny saw that night when I was nobody." He paused, crying openly now. "Johnny gave me permission to be myself, and in return I'm giving him this promise. I will never stop being dangerous. I will never let them turn me into something safe. As long as I'm alive, I will honor what you saw in me." But the darkness Robin had been fighting his entire life was getting stronger. The depression deepened. The loneliness became unbearable. The desperate need to make everyone happy while secretly falling apart became impossible to sustain. On August 11, 2014, Robin Williams took his own life. He was 63 years old. The world was shocked. How could someone so funny be so sad? How could someone who brought so much joy to others be unable to find any joy himself? But the people who really knew Robin understood. They understood that the same sensitivity that made him brilliant also made him fragile, that the same energy that made him a genius also made him unstable, that behind the laughter was a man who had been desperately trying to outrun his own darkness. In Robin's personal belongings, his family found a box of letters. Letters from fans, letters from friends, letters from people whose lives he had touched, and at the very bottom of that box, carefully preserved in a plastic sleeve, was a handwritten note on Tonight Show stationery. The note was from Johnny Carson, dated August 15, 1978, the day after Robin's first appearance. It said, "Dear Robin, thank you for reminding me why I fell in love with comedy. You are the most talented person I've ever seen. Don't let them change you. Stay dangerous. The world needs dangerous people. With admiration, Johnny Carson. P.S. You're going to be very famous someday. When that happens, remember that fame is just a mask. Don't forget who you are underneath it." Robin had kept that note for 36 years. Through all the success, all the movies, all the fame, he had kept Johnny Carson's words close to his heart. 2 comedians, 2 desperately lonely men who learned to hide their pain behind laughter. Both of them changed television forever. Both of them brought joy to millions while privately struggling with isolation and sadness. Both of them understood the terrible cost of making other people happy. Johnny Carson gave Robin Williams permission to be himself, and Robin spent his entire life trying to honor that gift. But in the end, the darkness won. What that August night in 1978 teaches us is something profound about comedy, about fame, about the cost of bringing laughter to a world that doesn't always laugh back. The funniest people are often the saddest people. The most brilliant performers are often the most broken. And sometimes the people who make us happiest are the ones who are suffering the most. Johnny Carson saw something in Robin Williams that night. He saw genius, he saw danger, he saw potential, but he also saw himself. A young man about to trade authenticity for fame, a comedian about to learn that success comes with a terrible price, a human being about to discover that making millions of people laugh doesn't mean you'll ever feel truly happy yourself. And Johnny tried to warn him, he tried to prepare him, he tried to tell Robin that fame is a cage disguised as a throne. Robin heard the warning, he understood the warning, but knowing the danger doesn't always mean you can avoid it. If this story of comedy, loneliness, and the cost of genius moved you, take a moment right now to think about the people in your life who make you laugh. The ones who always have a joke, who are always on, who never let you see them sad. Call them, check on them, ask them how they're really doing. Because sometimes the people who need help the most are the ones who are best at hiding it. Robin Williams stayed dangerous his entire life, just like Johnny Carson told him to. But dangerous also means vulnerable, and vulnerability, when it goes too deep, can become fatal. 2 legends, 2 comedians, 2 men who understood that making people laugh is both a gift and a burden. Subscribe to this channel for more stories about the moments that changed television history. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that it's okay to not be okay, that asking for help isn't weakness, that behind every smile might be someone fighting a battle you can't see. And remember what Johnny Carson told Robin Williams that night in 1978. Stay dangerous, but also stay alive. Because the world needs people who aren't afraid to be themselves. Where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments. And if you've ever struggled with the same darkness that Robin and Johnny faced, please reach out. Please talk to someone. Please remember that your life matters more than any performance ever could. The show always ends, but life doesn't have to end with it.